Kasey Hull is an automotive photographer and blogger, as well as a director for the NBC News Network. Since his first NASCAR race as a child, he has loved cars, and his photography hobby started off with recording RC cars. He discovered the show Cars and Coffee during college, and that's when his car photography gig really started. He continued attending car shows for photography reasons, and eventually realized that there was one missing. He decided to create his own clothing brand, Lame AF, and eventually fill the car show void with his own show he calls Slammed Bayou. Today we're talking to Kasey about how and why he created this event. Welcome to the Cutting Edge Garage Podcast.
All right, so this week we're with Kasey Hull from Lame AF, or also, and this is going to be an explicit version, so Lame as Fuck, which is a clothing brand. Is that correct, Kasey?
Yes, we are a clothing brand.
So tell us a little bit about that, because that's not the ultimate goal from what I understand.
No, right. So absolutely. So we started off as a clothing brand because what kind of better way to put a brand out there than having like a physical object for people to see right away, you know? With a name that's kind of out there already, people are going to either A, know it, like it, or want it. So that was kind of our plan. And then the next goal that we're trying to go for is we want to set up a local like automotive parts store where you can actually go in, get like car parts, because where we're located down in the Gulf, right in Biloxi, Mississippi, there's no like true automotive shops. You got, AutoZone and Advanced, but you don't have any actual, tuner shops that people can go to anymore. It's not like the 90s.
So the ultimate goal is parts. You're looking to get into, whatever the enthusiast crowd happens to be into, whether that's drifting or performance or whatever the case may be, have that real true, if you want rims, you want to touch them, you want to feel them, you want to be able to pick them up today, I've got them here at the shop kind of thing. Does that sound about right?
No, absolutely. Like, I think the goal is that we want to be able to have like everyone wants them now. Like, the big wings from Street Faction, or the Big Country Lab wings. People want to see kind of what they're buying, before they buy it online. And over flare kits, like true wide body kits, and then like you said, the wheels, turbos, intakes, all the big name brand parts is kind of like what we want to have at the shop for people to see. And even the small stuff too, like even like the local shift knob companies and our friends over at Grip Royal, that are helping us out. Like, we want to put their stuff in the store for people to kind of come and feel and touch and see.
Awesome. Now, you're currently in the media, as far as career goes. Is that fair to say?
No, yeah, absolutely. I'll put out there. I work for NBC on as a day job.
I won't hold that against you at all.
Yeah, so I work as basically I'm the behind the camera guy. I'm the one pushing the buttons, and
okay.
It's not the end goal. It's kind of where at this point I'm kind of using it more as a tool, because the way the people that I know, it just kind of keeps building and building, and the more people the better you can network later.
So with the NBC thing, I'm assuming your background is either in photography or videography, something like that. Is that what you went to school for?
Yeah, so I actually went down to school at Southern Miss down on the Gulf Coast, and I went through the film program. So my background mainly is in film, but I kind of grew up wanting to go into like automotive journalism and kind of work with, Super Street and Jalopnik and like all of the big name brands from, the early 2000s that popped up out of nowhere, and just kind of keep them going and like go out there with the photography. So I decided what better way to get into that than to learn how to use a camera professionally. And so I just kind of started with it, and it just kind of kept rolling. And then I found the news job, and it was just one stepping stone after another.
And see, this is a perfect example of how automotive can bring everybody together, because you're with NBC, which I'm not a fan of. No offense to NBC or the rest of the media, but media isn't my favorite thing. And so you're Southern Miss, I'm Roll Tide, and I'm assuming you're in Green Bay, so you're a Packers fan, right?
Yes, you got to know that. Go Pack, go.
Yeah, and I'm Go Ravens. So. And yet here we are finding some common ground in the automotive world. How cool is that?
See, absolutely. That's like the big thing too. It's like We just love how everyone can come together over cars. Like, no matter what you like too, it's whether you like classics or you like modern or you like imports or euros, you like cars, and that
Yeah,
is a community in itself.
I see some stuff going down the road, and I pick on, and you've talked to John a lot, and I pick on John all the time, because he's into drifting, and he loves Miatas, and I tell him it's a chick's car all the time, and I'm ragging on him, but I have the utmost respect for his passion for, his sport and his version of auto sports. I've had the honor and privilege of going to some races as guests for like Andretti. So, you get the Indy crowd. And I've also been a guest at a NASCAR truck series with Thor Motorsport. And so, again, a different crowd, a different type of racing, a different type. But we all share that same core passion, which is all things automotive. So even though I might look at the truck driving down the road that looks like the back broke, and
Right.
and they're driving off into the sunset, and I may look at that and think, yeah, it's just not my thing. I can appreciate the work and the passion that they put in to building their vehicle the way that they wanted to do it. And
No,
sounds like
absolutely.
you share that same passion, and that's kind of what your drive is into.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, I mean, from my background, I started off as a kid in Pennsylvania, and I came from Mosboro, and we had a local rallycross that would come through. I remember as a kid, waving the checkered flag, to start the time attacks, and then going from there, going to the Poconos, seeing the NASCARs up in front, going into the pits, the Snake Pit at Indianapolis. I've been to the Indy 500 multiple times. It's just fun after fun, and then they're seeing all the local dirt tracks that are. Um, I've kind of been involved in all of it, and going down to New Orleans, you kind of get the full, like, the no drift team down there, phenomenally nice people, and then they're starting to blow up just like the clutch kickers people over in, and I think they're in Destin, Florida, or right around over there, and they just keep blowing up too, and they're all friendly, and
We're with those guys this weekend.
Yeah.
They've got a drift event this weekend. So it's awesome. The people that I've met in the automotive world are from every background that you could possibly imagine,
Right.
crossing multiple continents. I've had the privilege of being in the automotive business for several years, working with a few international companies. So I've actually had the opportunity to meet, people over in Europe and see what they're into and what they're doing, and the Middle East and Asia, in Japan and China. So it's really cool to see that an automotive guy is an automotive guy. Doesn't matter what country, background, race, creed, or religion he came from, an automotive guy is an automotive guy.
Absolutely, straight up. And I think
Yeah.
it's just cool. And then, like you, I've traveled over to Spain. I've been down to Colombia, and I've seen all these different types of builds people have too. And they're just, when you talk to them, once you get past like the language barrier, they just love their car, and you love it too. And it just kind of brings everybody together.
We did a podcast with Tanner Faust, and from oh my God, I'm having a mental block.
Rockstar?
There, no, not Rockstar. The show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Top Gear.
Top Gear.
Yeah.
So the episode that they did in Cuba was one of the things that we were talking about, and then you got all these awesome, cool cars with no access to fix them, right? So this is all
Right.
like the old Chevys and the old Dodges and stuff like that, and he was talking about all of the innovations that these people go through to be able to keep those cars up and going. They're literally inventing parts to
Right.
keep these cars on the road, and they're absolutely gorgeous. It's crazy. So, where there's a will, there's a way.
No, absolutely. I think like same thing like that. When I was down in Colombia, people had these like lifted 4x4s that, like the real old Defenders that, parts are really expensive to get, and then down there they're just like you said, they're custom fabricating their own parts to keep these things running, and they're beautiful beasts, and like they're just amazing. Like I think I had a good time when I was down there just looking at all the different cars and meeting the people behind them.
So where did Lame AF or Lame as Fuck? Where'd the idea come from? The name, and then the idea of doing the clothing brand to build, the ultimate goal. Where did that? Sounds like you got a lot of entrepreneurship in your blood. Where did the idea come from?
Okay, so the name, it's a funny thing. I was sitting with my girlfriend and we were kind of just looking through, shirts. We are like, well, it's kind of what are we going to buy today kind of thing. We were walking through the mall and we just noticed a bunch of other off the wall kind of names, and I was trying to think of one that we saw, but I'm coming to a blank right about that. But we saw one and we were like, okay, that's kind of goofy. And then she had quirked off, man, that's kind of lame as fuck. And I was like, that's it. Like that's the
Boom,
name.
that's it.
It was like it's as simple as that. It was like no one. I looked around. I probably searched for probably like 3 days. Copyrights and everything. I was like, has anyone ever copyrighted the name Lame as Fuck? And I was like, nope. So I was like, okay. And to make it a little bit more appealing, we shortened it to Lame AF. Of course, when talking about it, people are going to say the full name, but someone is looking at it and not inherently going to think it's truly evil. But that was kind of the plan there. And I had been wanting to do a car show for a while, which is kind of brought back the idea. So let's take the clothing brand idea that we saw at the store and let's apply it somewhere. Let's somewhere where people can see it, get a hold of it, and really build it out of, the blue. So we decided to come up with the show, Slam Bayou. And then we decided after the show, we're going to continue the brand and make it into a shop. And that's kind of it. Just the ball just kept rolling after that.
Now, is the shop going to be, you buy the parts and we put them on, you buy the parts, you put them on, combination of both? Are you actually going to do some repairs and installs as well?
So that's kind of the plan that we're going towards is at first we're probably going to start with just a little kind of like stock mall little kind of area and just kind of have the parts there, and then as we keep expanding we would like to have like an actual garage where you can come in, you can meet our mechanics. Myself, I'm not the most inherently automotive and mechanically inclined, but the three other partners that I have, they're silly smart, and all this stuff. So they know how to, take stuff off, put stuff in as quick as it can be. And I'm just the one who really comes up with like the ideas for it. And
Yep.
They're like, we can make that happen. So it's kind of the cool thing about it. So the plan is to have an actual garage at the end and have like a true shop. Like here is the shop and you can come in and get all the parts that you want and we'll put them on for you.
So when you guys come down and do the show, you're going to come check out the Cutting Edge Garage?
We'd love to.
We would love to have you.
Awesome.
So you're doing the show. The show is in Biloxi, right?
Yep.
What's the date for the show?
So the show is on October 24th and it starts at 10 a.m. and ends at 5.
Okay. Yeah, if you have time, and I know you're going to have a million things going on, but if you have time, we would love to have you down here and meet the team and, see what we do in our garage, that kind of thing. Yeah, we'd love to have you.
That
So,
sounds pretty perfect.
how many moving parts are there to putting on a car show? I appreciate car shows. I've never even attempted to put one together. So walk us through what it takes to actually make this work.
So I think what it takes to make it work, for starters, is before you even have the show, you have to be able to organize just a regular car meet, which we've done before. Lame AF is the actual brand. I used to be an owner of a car club that was called Afterlife, and we hosted a really big show, had a really big turnout. We hosted it at Twin Peaks back in 2018.
There could be worse places.
Right. And we just kept building it from there. And it was like, okay, so we know how to have a meet, how to, keep people organized and how to keep people coming in. So the first thing really got to focus on is getting the location. Your location is everything, and then once you get their approval and figuring out, statistics on whether you have to pay them or if it's free and stuff like that, kind of, just internal organization between you and the location, learning the rules, kind of like setting precedents, like this is what's okay, this is what's not, and then it's setting a date. So we picked October 24th for our show because we didn't want to have it during Cruising the Coast, which is going on all of this week. So
And it's a huge show. Kind of they're going to
big
steal the
one.
thunder. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we got a lot of criticism early on saying, why not just host it during cruising when everyone's here? But we didn't want to have our show overshadowed. So picking your date is super important. It's like the very next thing after finding the location, because if you have to make sure there's no other shows going on, there's no other bigger shows, even if it's a different type of show, like a bike show. If you love cars, you might be interested in the bike show that's 2 hours away. So you have to really be careful and play around and figure out, like, this is our market, this is the type of car show we're hosting, this is when it's going to happen, and then you kind of have to hope for the best with weather. Now that can vary if it's an indoor or an outdoor show, which different venues have different locations. Like Cruising the Coast, it's a 50-50 show. Like they have their big showcase inside, but everyone comes down to cruise the coast down 90. So you kind of have to, play it by ear and figure out, you got to hope for the best if you're an outdoor show, which we are. So we got our date set, we picked our location. The next major thing was coming into play would be marketing. So how are we going to market to people? Are we going to just, tell people by ear, post it on Facebook, and then making flyers? So we kind of did that. We started off just going to a couple car shows back when I was down there. We were just like, okay, let's go to this car meet, tell people about it. We're putting together a show. So then you kind of get your marketing rolling by that. You start playing by ear, then you start making the posters. You print the posters, you put them in public places where people meet, like at the local AutoZone, or you put them in other shops for people to notice. You make business cards, getting the graphics made, just kind of putting it out there for people to see. So after that comes kind of your advertising then, talking to local TV channels, talking to the radio stations, and talking to other people, other big names such as yourself and sponsors that come out for the show, and people who want to be there. Not people who are like, I don't know what this is, but I'll come, but people who actually want to be there and like showcase what's going on. And then I think the last big thing that you have to worry about is ticketing and awards. We have everyone does their awards differently. Some people do just little paper plaques, little paper printouts. But we wanted to build a true like legitimacy to our brand. We wanted to say we're not here to mess around. This is not like a one-time thing. We want to have an award that you'll be able to take home, feel and display, and feel proud of displaying. So we came up with, I want to say it's, we have 10 standard awards, but then we have 3 class awards, and then we have the 3 take-home like mega awards. And we decided that the best way to do this is to make them glass. People love a really authentic piece of like memorabilia that you can take home and remember forever. A solid piece of glass engraved on it, what you won, in my opinion, is one of the greatest things you can give someone as an award. People do custom paintings as well, and we just kind of thought like there's a lot of different things. We saw a lot of other shows doing like those custom paintings, like OBI, which is the big truck show down in Orange Beach.
Yep.
They do custom surfboards, and that's awesome. And we didn't want to take that thunder. And then we looked at, Cruising the Coast. They do kind of like this, they change it up every year, of course, like what the actual design is, but they do this custom painted thing. And we're like, okay, everyone else is doing these custom painting things. We can follow in their footsteps, or we can do something unique, and that's, kind of, already kind of semi-established in like this dance and slam scene, which are these kind of plaques and glass awards. So instead of doing the plaques like most other car shows do, we decided to go with the glass award because we feel like that holds more value for people to see.
Okay. Okay. So you've put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah, it's been a lot of sitting behind the computer, kind of, drawing every design, coming up with the different awards. We actually just released all the awards. If you want, I can go through them all if I can pull them up real quick.
Yeah, please.
Perfect. So, all right, let me pull these up. So we just released it today on our Facebook page, on the event page.
And
Yeah.
while you're doing that, tell me why you're not wearing lame AF merch. Why are you not
So right
representing,
now,
man?
we are giving some support to our friends over at Funk.
Okay.
We saw them a while ago back at Stupid Cold, and we saw them at Import Alliance. They have been just really helpful with kind of giving us some feedback and advice on what to do. So wanted to show them a little bit of respect and help them
Awesome.
out there. We do have some custom shirts coming. We have all of our event shirts made too, so we're really happy about those. So started off, we have the Best of Show Off award. This is probably our most unique award, and we're really happy to show it. I wish I had it with me. Of course, I'm up here, and all the awards are down there. But it's a we took a wheel.
Okay.
We took a 3-piece wheel. We took out the innards of the wheel, and we just have the lip. And we're going to epoxy the glass into the wheel. That way, the award itself is sitting inside of the rim, and you
Very
can just
cool.
take that and have it. So that's our Best of Show of award. And then because we are a slam show, we're doing the best bagged build. So anyone with, air suspension. And then we have a best static for, just a true, the hardcore coil over guys. Then we have our People's Choice Award. So everyone loves those because everyone gets a vote on those. We have our best domestic, import, and Euro awards. So we have those 3 because that's mainly the market who we want to see at the show. And that's covers everyone. So hopefully we'll see a good mixture of both. And we have our contest awards. So we have our best burnout because we're having a burnout box. We are doing the lowest limbo award for the person who wins the lowest limbo. And then we have the loudest 2-step award for the person who wins the loudest 2-step contest. We're not handling the award for our stereo competition because that is being handled by Billy Temple with Bass Wars. So we're super happy to see everyone from Bass Wars come out and support the show too. That's something that I kind of wanted from the beginning, was to have a giant stereo competition, because as the car community has progressed over the years, we've kind of seen that stereo builds kind of, are disappearing. So we want to kind of bring them back and let them know that, hey, you're still important, come out and we'll show you guys off. So that was the
Awesome.
thought there with that one.
So you're representing Funk, and that's awesome. Are you representing anybody with the headphones?
No, these are just my personal good communication headphones.
Okay. All right. Just checking. All right.
No, I love them.
How many people are showing up?
So right now, I want to say we have over 800 people interested in the event. We have over 200 coming, and right now we're sitting around 70 registered. Well, I cannot say it. Registered vehicles already. So people have already pre-registered, and we're just super excited. So we're gonna
That's
have
awesome.
at the door. So it's blowing up every day. So
That's awesome. How many brands are going to be there?
So right now we got, I think it's 6. We have the Coast Observer. We are having y'all. Let me see. I have so much stuff popping up every day. So I want to make sure I get them all.
Definitely want to do the shout out for sure.
No, absolutely. I want to make sure I get everyone. So just alone on our so every brand that we're kind of representing right now from the show that is going to be there is, we want to start off with kind of all of the vendors that we have. So the first one being the Backyard Empire. They're a local kind of a car club out of Mobile, and they put together some really cool merchandise that they're going to be helping out with the raffle. They've even made a custom hoodie that they're going to be giving away with us. So definitely want to say thanks to them. Sam over there, Sam and Heath are phenomenal people to work with. They've been helpful and like helping with promotion and all that stuff, so it's been really good. We have Billy, of course, with Base Wars. Super excited to see all of that really cool like jazz come out of there. Like it's just phenomenal. We have a friend with Scott from Grip Royal, which is the big drift company. They're not going to be there per se, but they're giving us a lot of merchandise for our raffle. So
Okay.
definitely want to say thank you to Scott helping out. We're going to be giving away a custom steering wheel, a shift knob, and a shirt and a bunch of slaps from them. We have DB Rocks. They are a CBD store out of off the coast. They're going to be there having some really cool stuff for everyone to try out. Then we want to give a big thanks out to our friends with the Minty brand. They're from up, want to say Central Mississippi. They've been really
Okay.
helpful. They share every post that we've done, so they've been really nice to us like that. Um, we have Stubborn Society. They're another automotive kind of like apparel slap sticker brand. They're not going to be there, but they're sending us a lot of stuff for the raffle. So super thanks to them as well. And then we also have Strict Standards. They're coming out and with a lot of stuff for us. This is kind of a brand that we kind of really watched from the beginning kind of grow, and they've started off with just stickers, and now they're doing t-shirts, hoodies, jackets, and a lot more stuff. They're starting to collab with a lot more bigger brands, and we're super excited that they're sending us some stuff for the show. And then one of our personal favorite sticker companies that we're working with is Finalis Gang. They we watched them legitimately grow from selling stickers out of a car at Import Alliance, and now they have basically like their full kind of like merchandise line of clothing, jackets, and they have just popped off, and they're getting bigger and bigger every day. And we have a couple local guys coming in to help out with doing our we're having custom detailing at the show. So they're going to come and hopefully, set up a nice little booth for us. And we're in the talks right now with some more brands about getting some, hopefully some wraps. Fingers crossed, people coming through and setting up wraps at the show.
That's awesome. Any celebs coming?
Any celebs? I couldn't tell you that right now. We're in the
Okay.
works talking with some local celebrities right now from the coast. But we'll play that one by ear.
Nothing good comes easy, right? Nothing
Right.
worth having comes free. So, what are some of the challenges that you've run into, and what have you learned in the process?
So the biggest struggle, that I've ran into is the fact that I'm not down there. Like me being the CEO is the hardest thing when you have to relay everything and can't actually do anything. So the biggest thing for us is our structure and organization skills like that, because our team gets everything done phenomenally. Our partners, Carson, Q, and Joe, they all get everything done that needs to be done, but it's just that constant feeling of just like, man, I'm up here. I wish I could be down there getting stuff done and like pushing it as much as y'all are. They all do all the background stuff. They're the ones who are currently going out to the shows, talking to people right now, and I'm kind of just being the one who is sitting back and creating the stuff. Like creating all the designs and dealing with all the money, which is then the next big thing. So handling all the money and all the taxes as a first coming business is definitely a big learning curve. Just making sure everything's coming right, making sure everyone who needs to be paid is getting paid. So handling all of like the venue costs, all the costs to make the t-shirts. Anytime we outsource the design that we need to get approved first, talking out to them, making sure that this is okay for us to use, and then really kind of just like the marketing is like the next big struggle, is because while I'm up here, sometimes, the computer doesn't exactly know that I'm up here versus down there. And it's kind of just learning and teaching the computer that this is where you need to market to. This is what I'm trying to put out there, but it's putting it out in, Wisconsin versus, the Gulf Coast. And it's kind of going back and forth and like learning different things like that. And then the next biggest thing that we really struggled with was early on finding the location. Um, it took us probably a month to find the dock, because I don't know if you know the area too well, but the dock used to be a very established restaurant, and now has turned into an event a venue only. So we were kind of hesitant at first because we didn't know it made the transition into being a special event destination, and we thought it was just a restaurant. We are like, man, we love this location a lot, but they're a restaurant, and we don't want to take away from their business. We don't want to, hurt them in any way. But as we kind of discovered and went through our options, we are like, okay, we're going to reach out to them. We're going to find out what needs to be done, and just communication. And then after that, the ball keeps rolling. So,
Okay. So, what's your favorite part about putting the shows together?
so my favorite part about it, all of it, is that this is something that the coast wants. I mean, we have the classic car show. We've seen scraping the coast become, squatting the coast. We've seen jeeping the coast come in, but there's no true show for slam cars anymore. Of course, you can go to scraping the coast and you go into the Coliseum, and you see all the lowered builds, but that's not who's in town anymore. People who in town are all the lifted trucks. It's almost like we were robbed of our show. So we wanted to build something that gave back to the community what they wanted. So my favorite thing is that this people wanting this show since like the year before last, when we really started to see that transition from slam vehicles to lifted trucks at scraping the coast. So the biggest thing has just kind of been seeing the enjoyment and how everyone's excited to come to the show is kind of my favorite thing, because we weren't going into this expecting everyone's going to come. This is fantastic. We were expecting, this is our first show. We're putting a lot into it. We're expecting maybe 40 people to show up, and now we have over exceeded that through the roof 10 times over. So
Gotcha. That,
it's just been happy to see it.
that's awesome, man. So, um, you ever thought about getting musical bands together? To draw in the crowds and make the show bigger,
No, absolutely.
or
I
any
think
plans of doing that?
yes. So maybe not with this show. I think this show we're going to stick with a DJ just for the first one here. But I think next year we're going to start reaching out to music artists and see if they want to come perform a show, and then kind of grow it from there. I think I'm not sure if you're familiar with Grid Life, but Grid Life has kind of taken that platform where you're like, okay, we're going to have a slam car show, we're going to have a drift event, we're going to have a concert, and we're going to have like track battles. So they kind of took the platform and they made Grid Life with that. And now you see them in, I think it's Colorado, you see them in Atlanta, and I think next year or either later this year, they're coming down to New Orleans and they're doing Grid Life New Orleans. And that is something that we kind of want to build. We want to kind of create that kind of atmosphere where everyone who just loves cars can come out for a weekend and listen to music, see cool cars, watch cool events, and have a good time.
So you're getting a lot of positive feedback from the local community, and like you said, there's a lot of people that want to see this show. How well received is it by the municipalities and the towns and things that you got to bring, you know, that you've got to get the permits and everything else to get it done? Are they on board? Are they, difficult to deal with? How's it been?
So for the most part, so the show itself, being in Gulfport, I know earlier I might have said Biloxi, but Gulfport is the actual like event location of the venue. Um, because we're dealing with Gulfport, it's very very easy. They're happy, and so far, like the other kind of bigger brands like Coca-Cola have reached out and helped out a lot already. Just like the local venue itself has spoken to a lot of the kind of handled a lot of like the sales permit stuff on the side for us already. So it's been really easy. So far it's been received very well from like the local municipalities.
Okay. So thoughts on SEMA being a virtual show, and have you ever been to SEMA?
I have not been to SEMA. That one's on my plan. I was supposed to go to Vegas, but tickets got canceled, so could not make it. But that's okay.
Okay.
Um, with it being a virtual show, it's not going to be the same. Um, we've had some of my buddies have had their vehicles at SEMA before, and it's a fantastic show to go to, and it's very kind of disheartening that it's virtual only. But as we've seen with this year in COVID so far, I'm happy that they're still having it versus it just not existing.
I honestly think, um, I honestly think that they canceled the show because they had no choice. I also know,
Yeah.
as long as I've been involved in the automotive business, especially around the custom car crowd, I don't think COVID would have kept the the core crowd from coming. I
Yeah.
think I think it drove out a lot of the large corporate companies that don't want to take the risk or liability that's associated with sending a bunch of employees to work a booth in
Yeah.
that type of environment. And then obviously, whether Las Vegas would or wouldn't allow such a big gathering anyway. I think it was more about the loss of some of the bigger corporate people, not the people that go to the show to go to the show. I don't think anybody that
Right.
normally would have gone to the show wouldn't have went. Honestly, I just don't. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
and I agree with you. I don't think we're going to do a virtual thing, but I'm not sure how it's going to go, and it's certainly not going to be the same. I remember the first year that I did SEMA, after having done car shows and going to car shows since I was a little kid. You go to SEMA and you're like, yeah, this is a whole new world. It's
Yeah.
it's there's just nothing that big that I'm aware of in this country when it comes to custom cars, and to have that not there or not there in person, I think is definitely sore spot for me. I enjoy doing SEMA. So
Yeah.
it kind of sucks that it's not going to be there, but it is what it is. So you doing a podcast soon? Somebody whispered to me you're going to be starting a podcast.
Yeah, definitely. We once we kind of get set up and once we get our official retail store up and going, or even if we get a warehouse, we're going to set up a green screen, kind of go from there, set up a true set for people to come in and talk with us and see some of the cool toys we got going on in the background, like our drift car that we're building.
So what's the theme going to be, or just all things automotive, or what are you guys going to focus on with the podcast?
So I'm glad you mentioned that. I think the podcast is kind of really focused on stance cars and the
Mhm.
idea of people building them and throw in drift cars as well.
There you go. And so drifting is your passion?
I'm both. So personally, I have an Audi, and then I also have the drift car that we're building as a team. I like show cars, and I'm learning how to drift because the plan again is to put our own sponsor on the car and then take it out there to get the shop even more recognition. So
John wants to drift too. We told him that he's got to learn how to drive first, and then we'll work on the drifting part.
absolutely.
He's behind the camera, so I'm not going to share with you what fingers he's using to communicate right now. So who's your favorite tool brand? And I'll give you a hint. There's only one answer. There's only one correct answer.
I think the correct answer there is SP Tools.
There you go. That's awesome. Good deal. Now, so where right now you guys are a clothing brand. How do people get a hold of Lame AF in terms of the apparel? Where are you selling it? How do they check you out? How do they find out more about you as a company?
Okay, perfect. So the best thing you can do to get in touch with our brand is we operate a big Facebook page. It's just called Lame AF Brand, and check that out. And then our Instagram is lame_AF_brand, and that's where we've been kind of updating people like with our some videos and some more people who are registering to see the cars. And then under our Facebook page, you can see our event page, Slam Bayou. And then once you click that, you'll see all of the fun stuff we're sharing every day in there with people. We host daily polls. We talk people. Play with them. Tease them a bit. See some cars. Post some pics. Do that, and then they get to our website where it's Lame AF at Squarespace. So check it out. We got some stuff on there. But if you don't want to go to the Squarespace, we have our shop set up on Facebook as well. So.
Awesome. Well, Kasey, I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. I think you got a great story. I love to hear stories of entrepreneurship and people, trying to push forth in a way that they're passionate about. We even had a couple on that they're RVers is what they do, and I know that's a little bit outside the norm of automotive, right? But they've turned their RVing into a business. They now have a blog and a website. On their website, they're getting 2 million views a month on their website. They're getting 11 million views on their ads on their blog. So they've actually turned this thing that was their passion and really a way for them to go out and live their life into a business. And that's one of the things that I'm really passionate about is entrepreneurship and people finding a way to take their business and move it forward. And you guys, I think, have found a really cool way to do that with the clothing brand, with the shows, to ultimately get to your end goal, which is to have the parts store and support that, stance and drifting community that you guys are targeting. So congratulations. I'm glad to hear things are going well. We're glad to be part of what you're doing. We're looking forward to seeing you on the 24th.
Absolutely. I can't wait. It's going to be a fun time for y'all.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you again. And everybody, we'll see you again soon in the Cutting Edge Garage.